David Bay here for MuscularDevelopment.com. We are in Pittsburgh, just wrapped things up with the 2015 NPC Masters National Championships. I am here with your 80 and overall winner, 82-year-old Jim Arrington. Jim, I've been coming here for Masters Nationals for 3 years now. You've won 3 times.
Right.
First off, congratulations on this win. Jim, for the people who don't know you on muscular development, or the people who are watching this, obviously you've got a storied background. You know, kind of start from how you got into working, you know, really take us from A to Z.
How I started bodybuilding and all that stuff?
Well, absolutely.
Ever since I was a little boy, I've been fascinated by things like vascularity. And when I was maybe 4 or 5, and then and I said, you know, I kind of like that. I liked, and when I saw the Arm and Hammer label, this, hey, I'd like to have arms like that.
Sure.
And by the time I got to be 15 and getting beaten up all the time and very asthmatic, I decided I got to do something. I only weighed 115 pounds.
Okay.
So at my height that I am now, and so I found this magazine article that said, take this George Jowett course. And, you know, you send it away 25 cents, and they send you all these books. And I had I didn't have any weights or anything, but we had a couple of steel balls, about 3 pounds. And, you know, I started training with them. And after a little while, I was weighing 128 pounds. So then I says, Mom, look at all the benefits I got. Let's do the course. So we sent away the $33, and they sent me something with a piece of wood with a kind of leverage thing on it, and I trained with it and a little while later I'd gained up to 133 pounds. So then the Boy Scout master said, although it's past Boy Scout age, he had some weights in the scout hut, and his assistant master took up and we started training together. Well, actually, not much happened when I started training with the weights, but I've trained, you know, on and on. And when I went to college, I brought my weights there because back in those days they didn't allow weights. Weights were, well, I had to have a box with all these weights in it. It had to be locked, and it was stored in the back of the gym where they keep the mats, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was there in training and climbing the rope. I was pretty good at that. And so I started training and so on. And so I began, you know, gaining a little weight, a little strength. And about that time, I decided that my squat wasn't up to where it should be.
You weren't hitting leg day as much as you should have, right?
And, well, everything else, you know, was pretty. I could do a stiff arm pullover with body weight. But the squats I could only do 5 reps with 220 pounds. That wasn't enough.
It still isn't
So
that bad.
So I said, this is during the summer. I says, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to 300 pounds for 5 reps, and in 6 weeks.
Oh,
So what
it's a lofty goal.
So what I did, I quit training, everything except squats, and I'd squat 5 days a week. And I would
Basically the complete opposite of what a lot of college guys are doing nowadays.
Right. I'd squat 5 days a week, and I would add 3 sets of 5, you know, a set maybe 20 pounds below the top set, and then back down another set. So that's, you know, 3 sets. And each time I would add the smallest thing I could add to my York barbell, which was 1 1/4 pounds per side. So that's 2.5 pounds.
Sure.
Add that up 5 times. And for 6 weeks, you got to about 80 pounds. And, you know, I couldn't believe it. Well, but I got to about 290. I got stuck once. But I just, you know, hurt my father's back almost, but when he was trying to take it off. But I was yelling for him.
Oh, you mean you didn't just get stuck, couldn't get the weight up. You got, like, physically stuck on the bottom.
Oh, yeah, I was down at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And so then I quit that, but, you know, because I made the goal, and it was a couple of weeks later, I was back in school, had to have the weights in my dorm room then, because at Occidental College they didn't allow weights. And so the thing happened there is that I was telling people what I did over the summer, and they said, now, I said, well, let me show you. So I took put the squat stands there and put the bar on there, piled on to 300 pounds, and after a few warm-ups with no weight, I, did 5 reps. I was thinking to myself, God, that's easy. So I did 5 more, and that was about the way I was thinking. I says, well, if I could do that, let me do 5 more. So I did 5 more, and by that time it was getting pretty hard. So I said, well, I proved my point.
Right.
And rocked the thing.
Proving that weight training works. So obviously a passion for weight training from a very young age.
Yeah.
How did that transpire into actual bodybuilding competitions?
Well, I didn't train. I didn't compete, although I wanted to compete. I trained I was a carpenter at Probotnik's gym. John Probotnik, who was 1950 Mr. America, and he opened a gym in Pasadena, and so I started training there, and then I decided later. Later, I was training after I got married and stuff at Vic Tanny's gym in Lakewood. They had gyms, where the men train 3 days a week and the women train 3 days a week. They had it separated.
Oh wait, so at the gyms back then there were separate separate days for men and women.
Oh yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I think Sunday, and Tuesday and Thursday and Saturdays was for women.
Oh.
Yeah, they didn't just have co-educational restrooms. They had
No distractions at the gym back when Jim started training. Women had to come on a different day.
So
help you stay focused.
Right, but I was training for the Mr. LA, and back then you gained all this weight, and so I went from 150 pounds to 215, and I had a 38-inch waist.
Okay.
Then I lost 35 pounds in 56 days. I mean, I was still a little bit sort of like what I mentioned about Army Tanny, a little bit not quite good enough to enter. So I really didn't get into actual competition to 1978 when I was when Jim Morris, another Mr. America, said, Jim, why don't you start competing? So I started competing down at Muscle Beach because I lived down in that area. And my first contest was in 1978. It was Mr. America over 40. They had about 15 competitors, and I was second overall and won most muscular man. So I says, hey, this looks like it's going to be pretty good.
Sure.
So I did some other shows, including that one with Arthur Peacock, where he beat the heck out of me and my nemesis.
For you guys who haven't seen the other video we did, Arthur Peacock is the other gentleman who just tonight won the 70 overall, and these guys go back a long time. They competed against each other that many years ago, so that's that reference. Here they are in 2015. How many years later?
37.
37 years later. So definitely a cool story to see you guys back on stage. So from the late 70s until 2015. Now I know you've been doing these master shows for a while. Has it been pretty consistent competing over the years, or have there been times where you took 5 or 10 years off?
I took about 18 years off.
Okay.
And then I started competing again. Well, in 96, and I've been doing at least one show every year since then.
You've done a show every year since 1996?
Right. Yeah, I've done a total of over 50 shows.
Oh wow.
Not near as many as Arthur Peacock, but
he's done a lot.
But I've done a lot of shows.
All right. Well, I tell you what, Jim, we really appreciate you taking the time here. I know I speak for everybody when I say it's a pleasure and an inspiration to see somebody your age, not just continuing to work out, but continuing to get on stage and show everybody that if you continue to work hard, you take care of yourself, there's no reason to slow down or be cooped up in the house.
Right.
So not only from a bodybuilding standpoint is it cool, but a little inspiration for those people saying that they're creeping into their 50s and 60s and their body's giving out on them.
Right.
He is proof positive that it doesn't have to be that way. But we're going to congratulate you one more time on your third victory here in Pittsburgh. But we're going to let Jim go celebrate celebrate his win. So for that, this is David Bay one more time with your over 80 champion here in Pittsburgh, Jim Arrington for MuscularDevelopment.com.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Fantastic.